rights of the people. You contribute a very big role. We have just interfaced with the Ministry for East African Community, and they had serious concerns about the closure of the Nimule border, and we are told vehicles, we are parked for some 2 weeks. You need to update us as the Minister of Trade, if that is within your docket, on how far you have gone in regard to helping our traders, execute business. You also know that there is a lot of complaint about counterfeit goods on market. You also know complaints about the quality of products that we have in here. You also know issues of trade barriers. You know, we have taken our goods to Sudan, they have rejected them. Taken to Kenya, our eggs are rejected. So as the Minister of Trade, we are going to have we are going to have 5 minutes to take us through the Ministry of Trade, what is being done there, give us an update. And also, we know you are one of the ministries that have been well funded. If others suffer budget cuts, the Ministry of Trade hasn't suffered the same, I believe. Because when we looked through your 5-year strategic plan, you are seriously overfunded with supplementaries. So we believe you are one of the ministries we expect to deliver quality and timely services to our people. Honorable colleagues, let's have the PS for some few minutes to give us a brief. However, I want to inform you that we are a non-partisan committee. The colleagues you see here are a mix of the opposition and the ruling party. And to update you that the ruling party actually are more than the opposition here. We are only 2 members here, for the opposition only 2. So when you come here, for us we are here basically to ensure that you serve the people of the Republic of Uganda. It doesn't matter the side, the political, when we are here, we are not politicians, we are servants of the people. So let's have an engaging interface in the interest of serving Ugandans. The time you came in, we've just had an unpleasant meeting with the Minister of Public Service. And colleagues this side, that kind of demeanor, I don't know, but for me, I thought this should be colleagueship. When you come here, and we've always given you time. When you don't have an answer, assign one of your colleagues to consult. So please, when you get out there, let's be colleagues in serving the people. You cannot do it alone. You can't work alone. We need to have that joint teamwork in ensuring that people get quality and timely services. I want to thank you. You can give us a brief about the ministry.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson and Honorable Members. On behalf of the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives, I want to thank you and the committee for this opportunity to engage with you for the consideration of the audit report for the financial year 24-2025. I also wish to extend my gratitude to the audit team who interacted with us and who provided evidence and insight into the Ministry's operation. Honorable Chairperson and Honorable Members, the Ministry's mandate is to formulate, review and support policies, strategies, plans and programs that promote and ensure expansion and diversification of trade, cooperatives, environmentally sustainable industrialization and appropriate technology development, and transfer to generate wealth for poverty eradication and benefit the country socially and economically. Honorable members, I'm accompanied by heads of departments, and where I'm unable to respond, they will support me. With your permission, Honorable Chair. We view these findings as valuable opportunity to learn and improve on our internal processes. Despite these challenges, the Ministry endeavored to implement its budget to contribute to the objectives under the National Development Plan 3 and the NRM Presidential Manifesto. We have made significant strides in improving the policy environment, which is
procedure, Madam Chair.
Yes, please.
Yes, Honorable.
Thank you very much, Chair. Chair, the accounting officer seems to be reading a formal document that we cannot see and refer to here. If it pleases you, she would circulate that document such that, because it looks like it is a brief, other than what you're asking for an overview from her. Can we?
She's honorable. She's proceeding well, though. As you do conclude on that submission, you will have to give us that, and it remains on record for purposes of, writing a final report. So allow her proceed. Thereafter, she will give us, and we shall run copies. Please do proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. We have carefully reviewed the findings of the audit report, and we acknowledge the issues raised by the auditors. We view these findings as a valuable opportunity to learn and improve on our internal processes. Despite the challenges, the ministry has endeavored to implement its budget, and we have made significant strides in improving the policy environment, which is demonstrated by Parliament's approval of the Competition Act, among other achievements. Furthermore, we have expanded our export markets and are ready to undertake corrective measures in subsequent budgets, starting with this current financial year of 25-26. And in response to the audit findings, we have initiated already several corrective actions to our internal processes. As I have been in this role for 1 year and 5 months, I will take these issues identified as a learning step for the ministry to further corrective actions, driving us to a more effective and efficient implementation trajectory. We have faced some challenges, and we are actively working to mitigate them. If I go back to the issues you raised in your remarks, Honourable Chair, on the issue of the closure of Nimule border, we have written to the PS Miaka and requested that she tables it at the East African Community meetings that are happening. They have one actually next week in Arusha, and we hope that she can table it there so that we can find solution to that challenge that we are facing. On the issue of counterfeit products, the ministry under the UNBS has received additional budget to enhance its enforcement. Also, following your advice that we implement a whole of government approach where we work jointly with our sister agencies and ministries in implementation of service delivery to our public, the URA is currently jointly conducting those inspections with UNBS to ensure that those counterfeit products are taken off our markets and our shelves in the supermarkets. The head of public service last week actually convened a meeting with the UNBS to chart a way forward on how to improve their enforcement mechanisms and ensure that these counterfeit products are taken off our shelves and sensitize our business people on adhering to the standards, quality standards. On issues of non-tariff barriers, these are issues that are ongoing. We keep engaging our stakeholders, especially in the East African community and in the region, to ensure that our products are exported within the region at fair tax rates. And those engagements go on, and we trust that as we continue engaging with our neighboring countries, we will be able to resolve these non-tariff barriers. You mentioned, Honourable Chair, that our budget is good. I beg to differ. Actually, our budget is very misleading because the biggest part of our budget actually is capitalization of UDC, Uganda Development Corporation. So those supplementaries that you see are usually for capitalization of Uganda Development Corporation. The ministry, if I give an example, this quarter, we only got funds purely for operations. Our budgets were severely cut. So we suffer cuts like other ministries and departments. Nonetheless, we strive to engage Ministry of Finance to ensure that our budgets are protected from budget cuts so that we can be able to serve our public appropriately and efficiently. Honourable Chairperson, in summary, I want to thank you for this opportunity. You've allowed us to provide clarifications on the audit report for the financial year 24-25. We are committed to good governance, continuous improvement, and working closely with this committee to ensure that public resources are used effectively and efficiently to the benefit of all citizens, for God and my country.
Thank you, Madam PS. Colleagues, anything from her? Though, you know, ever since we had an interaction with Miaka, I think it's now a week or so, I want you to update us for how long has the Nimule border been an issue to our traders? Number two, honorable colleagues, yes, we know you wrote to Miaka to have this tabled within the East African Parliament and the colleagues that side. Do you want to mean that those vehicles are going to keep there as long as the negotiations are still taking place What remedy do we have? How can we help our traders make business? Because this has a serious impact on people's businesses. People have lost money, goods are rotting, and I mean, we're talking about people's livelihood. You cannot go down there and convince people that you know, they have gone to Nairobi to have this discussed. They have gone here to have this discussed. What they want to see is how can we trade? And amidst all these challenges, how have we taken the initiative to at least talk to people who are in this kind of trade? Because as others are stuck on the border, as others are busy, I mean, getting merchandise, you know, to also take the direction, because that is what they are used to. So as a ministry, sincerely, how can we protect our people? How can we mitigate the losses that our people are going through? Because you know what it means to, you know, earning a living. That is how people have been getting money. So what plans do you have, save for the meetings that Miaka shall have? What plans do you have? Have you engaged these traders to see how best you can have them, you know, advised on how to proceed as we have negotiation with the other side? Yes, Honorable Bangura.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, Accounting Officer, you're aware that over the weekend war erupted in the Middle East, and it seems to be engulfing most of our trading partners. What briefs are you preparing for the trading community, but also what guidance is available to us as an economy in general, aware that the shocks that are expected to come and arise out of that war will directly impact on us? I was listening to one of the media houses out there, and there were indicators that in the Far East, oil is already starting to threaten in terms of the pricing. So for us as a country and a region, what are the briefs and highlights that you're preparing for us generally, the trading teams, but also the community at large that benefit from various movements in the area that has been affected, which is the Middle East?
Thank you, Honorable. Honorable Okwang.
Thank you, Chairperson, for the opportunity. I want really to ask the PS for trade on especially the point of the border trade. I happen to be in the border, my constituency borders, but I have not seen any action of the Ministry of Trade in enhancing businesses between the Sudan and Uganda via my constituency. People enter and go, and sometimes
Honorable,
they are.
Can you give her details of your constituency so that she can know?
Oh, this is Napore West constituency, Karenga district, Karamoja. Not only in my place, but the whole of that part, to the northern part of Karamoja, has traders moving out, coming in, and there are people who intercept in the name of being security guys to get taxes, to tax these people. What is your plan to encourage free movement of goods and business going between the border communities?
Honorable Nsamba.
Chair, just
yes.
a rejoinder. Accounting officer, a few years ago, before you came, the Committee on the National Economy moved around the border areas, went to Busia, went to Malaba, went to Ruakaka, in the interest of establishing border markets for value addition and processing, as a result of benefiting from the interests across the other side with the available resources we have here. A border market was built in Busia and also one in Ruakaka. Malaba was not able to benefit because there was no available land. Now that land is available. What plans are there quickly to establish a border market there in order to do what is expected, that is processing value additional among others, but also to benefit our people with the trade that is flourishing along that corridor. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Samba.
Chair, thank you very much. Chair, I have two questions. One, our traders who are trading on the roads in our city recently were chased off the streets. As the lead minister for trade, can they run to you for space, for ways of how they can remain with the ability to fend for their families? In other words, is there a solution in your ministry? Secondly, Madam Chair, I would like to know who is popularizing the African Continental Free Trade Area, an initiative of the African Union that is intended to promote a liberalized market for goods and services across the African continent. Are you the leading ministry in that? If you are, what are you doing about it so that the coffee farmers in Kasanda can participate in part of some of the initiatives of the African Union? Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Silas.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Most of the visitors maybe don't know me. I'm Silas Augon. I'm the MP for Kume Municipality. And issue number one. In your brief about the situation on trade in the borders with South Sudan, you talked about something to do with the East African community, which to me I see as a long-term measure. But I'd love to find out from you whether there is a direct political attempt to have a quick fix of the matter. Because I want to believe that ministers, cabinet ministers, can call the president at any time. I don't know whether your ministers called the president on this matter, because the president is the one who can call the other president. Because in my opinion, this matter of the tariffs and what have you sometimes become more political than what we think. So I would love to find out that answer, whether your minister has informed the president. Number two, I have not seen you actively on media talking about this matter, even visiting those people, because you are the godparents to our traders. When have you ever visited these people? Have you had a lunch with them together to share the issues about the borders? The last one from me, Madam Chair. Kume Municipality has so many youth who are not employed. We have now enough power. We can host industries. You can give us a factory. You can send investors there. When are you sending at least one or two investors to invest in Kumi so that we can see a difference? Now that you are here and I'm lucky, when are you sending them?
Thank you, Honorable Silas. Madam PS, in addition to what they have asked, I don't know that this also falls in your docket, the industrial parks that have been constructed across the country. We find that in line to ensuring that there is adequate value addition, several industrial parks were constructed in most parts of our districts. And we observe that most of these are inactive. What's your comment on these industrial parks, and when are you making them active? Number two, being the industry that is in charge of value addition, market access, what is your contribution to the parish development model? Because our people in the villages are suffering with, tomatoes, those agricultural products. They have been given money for PDM, and value addition is one of the, I don't know whether it is an independent pillar, but it must be. But there is a pillar there that is in charge of, ensuring that there is value addition and market access. In regard, you are aware people have been given the 1 million under the parish development model, aware that it's a magic bullet, a transformation program, and a game changer. So, Madam, what is your contribution to this game changer? Number three, you have told us that most of your budget goes to UDC. We have just received the report on consolidated financial statements in regard to the performance of UDC. Have you picked interest in finding out how the person or how the entity you are capitalizing, have you tried to find out its performance? And in that line, we shall request you to assign an officer the day the PSST will appear here, for you to be represented on matters of UDC. Because UDC, after a capitalization of 1.3 trillion, UDC is making serious losses. So if you tell us that most of your budget goes to UDC, and from the consolidated financial statements, UDC is making losses, but will continue to capitalize it. So I think you need to get some of these updates. That interface with the PSST to find out on how that entity performs. I think it should be one of your areas of interest. I want to thank you. So yes, Honorable Choma, you will respond once, and you are free to make use of the staff that you do have.
Thank you.
Honorable Choma.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Mine is just one. You are Minister of Trade, and I believe small and medium enterprises fall under your docket. Could you be having a database of small and medium enterprises? Do you know them? Because I've tried really to look for that information, and thank you, Chair.
And lastly, we want to you to update us on your relationship between some of these enterprises that are set to support the community in regard to SMEs, for example, Private Enterprise Uganda, Private Sector Foundation, Microfinance Support Center. Actually, for UDC, we have seen. Reason, I mean, financial support to those entities is one of your areas of interest. So do you normally have an interface with them? What's the leakage between you and those parties? Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Chair and Honorable Members, for those questions. I'm going to select some of my commissioners to respond to these issues. With the issues to do with SMEs, I will ask the Commissioner for Processing and Marketing to respond to those issues, as well as our contribution to the parish development model, as well as the issue on industrial parks. Then on the issue of SMEs, the linkage to the entities, I will also ask him to respond to those issues. On the issue of AFCFTA, I'll ask Commissioner BDQA, in the absence of Commissioner External Trade. On the issue of the traders on the road, I'll ask the Commissioner Internal Trade to respond to those issues. And then issue of border posts, I will ask also the Commissioner for Internal Trade to say something on that matter. I think that is it.
So I'll beginning with?
We'll begin with the Commissioner Processing and Marketing, following from the last question that you have asked.
But you have not allocated my question.
Not one.
The issue of Kumi directly. We don't have an industrial park. We need
the
something.
Issue of industrial parks, Processing and Marketing can also
and you have to
he can address that. It
Kumi.
would be the Commissioner Industry. Oh, the Commissioner Industries. There, I'm not seeing them, unfortunately, from where I am.
Yes,
the Commissioner
accounting
Industry
officer.
will respond to that one, as well as the industrial parks, actually. The border market, he will also, Internal Trade can respond to that.
Thank you, Honorable Chair and Honorable Members, for the questions. Yes, in respect to the parish development model and what we are doing to link them to the markets, Honorable Members, we're developing the PDM a national marketing strategy, which is ready for endorsement by the senior and top management of the ministry, which highlights all the areas that we need to work on, including the storage infrastructure, facilities, and also linking them to other markets. We have worked with the private sector and other institutions to develop the platforms for selling these products online. Now that we know that markets can be everywhere, we have worked with agencies like UIA. We have created the trade portal where all SMEs, we have mobilized them to enroll on the portal and then put up the products that they want to sell, and then the buyers can also get to them. We have quite a number of these private sector digital platforms that we are working together. Of course, majority of these are still informal, so we are working with URSB and other partners to make sure that we help them formalize their businesses where they can. We go through the district commercial officers. We have mobilized them because we realize that sometimes we get challenges of supplies when we get orders and then we cannot supply them. So we are mobilizing these PDM circles to make sure that they can work on their products, and working through the National Bureau of Standards where the standards have to be assessed. We also guide them. So we are seriously planning, like in this financial year that we are working on, to make sure that we assess them. Where value addition is needed, we hope to support them in getting some of the value addition facilities. We work together with our other departments and the warehouse system department and my other department of business development and quality assurance. We train them in making sure that they can follow the quality practices. Another question was on the database.
Chair, allow me something small.
Yes, Honorable.
What do PDM circles do?
PDM circles, they are there to bring members together, to give them financing, and when these people get the funding, they go to do their different various enterprises. So we have people who are like the youth who are in different activities, brick making, leather footwear manufacturing products. Some of these are there, and also others are in vegetable and like growing cabbages.
So which strategy are you developing? The marketing strategy, you developing a marketing strategy for what?
For making sure that these products can be linked to the markets, and others where they need the technologies, we have put the budgets where they can be given the value addition technologies.
Maybe to give you information, what happens where I come from, when somebody is given the 1 million, most of them, by the way, they never even get the 1 million. Okay? So whatever is left, and they run away with it, okay? They can't do much. If you're asked to buy coffee seedlings out of that money, you can barely do much out of it. So I would suggest that as you're planning your marketing strategy, it is best only and only on those circles where you found that there is something to be done. Otherwise, most of the money is being eaten. For your information, people struggle to get that money, and when they get it, they also celebrate on it. So kindly endeavor, before you come up with your marketing strategy, first find out and have a study whether there is anything to be marketed.
Yeah, officer, in other words, as we wait to on the other side of the market, I think that will be the upstream. We have to look at also sensitization of these that get the money on how best they can use the money. Because once it's not put to good use, that is a loss to you as a ministry. Where are you going to collect the money if people are not sensitized? Number two, that brings us back also to the issue of the cost of capital in this country. As a Minister of Trade, are you interested in getting details and sensitizing people on how, even advising government on the impact of the cost of capital on trade. And also, as he submits, you should also give us your contribution on sensitization of the local traders on how do you capitalize business. You know, because it looks as if for you, you wait for this other side of you sell what we have made. Yet, you would help the chain. Because garbage in is garbage out. If you don't prepare the communities, I mean, literally, they will be underutilized. You will not get output as you do expect. You can proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Of course, as we know that the PDM is a continuous process, so we are going to continue mobilizing and sensitizing them on how they should utilize these funds. In this way, the database, yes, the ministry has been having a database which we have been popularizing time and again whenever we go to the field. But now we are concluding another digital one, which will be, and we are yet to roll it out actually next month. It was supposed this month, but next month, whereby we shall be asking the MSMEs directly. We train them on how to enroll, because you know every day new businesses come on board. Much as we get challenges because majority think that we want to have their information for taxes businesses, but we tell them that it is also to follow and support them in this respect. Because as we realize that we need to get to know where the products come from, how much they have, so it is in our interest that we get to know where they are. So it is in progress that soon it will be rolled out. Yeah, those are the only questions to do with SMEs.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
If one wanted a database that is not digitized, before you digitize, can't you provide that information? I know every day they're adding up, but at a certain point, you should be having something so to keep on updating.
Yeah, but Honorable Chair, yes, we can get that information because we have the IT unit that continuously updates.
Thank you.
Honorable Chair, I will finish with him after the meeting. So when I go with him, because I'm really interested in that database, in that list.
Thank you.
Honorable Chair, just maybe to add also to the issue the Honorable has raised on the MSME database, one of the key things as a ministry also trying to leverage on is to coordinate with different agencies that definitely position themselves as a potential data sources for MSMEs, the likes of UNBS, URA, UIA, and even business associations. So in a quest to get everything in position, we want to engage. So the coordination aspect that we really want to leverage on to make that happen. But before the close of this financial year, I suppose we should be having a rough estimate of how many MSMEs do we have in this country. Right now it has been a number that you cannot actually quantify, but we are almost there, and we should be able to achieve that for the close of this financial year.
Does that include the foreigners, the Chinese, and so on who are doing businesses here and competing with our local people? Or if anything, what are you doing about that? That continues to be a general cry time and again about people we expect to invest in bigger projects, being the investors now in what we can also do here, vending around.
Yes, Honorable. I think I'm going to request, we shall have, because by engaging with an entity like UIA and URSB, we should be able to know how many people have come in as investors, and definitely they're registered as potential businesses. So we should be able to know that. But on aspect of the vending and whatever, I think my colleague from internal trade should be able really to highlight that further. And maybe I should be able also to mention the concept on the ACFTA, as Honorable you had raised, specifically addressing, are we the lead entity? Yes, we are. We are the focal point, the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives. And we are cognizant of the fact that this agreement really need to with the Secretariat in place, we are meant to demonstrate how Uganda can position itself to participate and benefit from what has been presented in that agreement. Looking at the different protocols that are already in place, one of course being for on intellectual property, trade in goods and services, investment and the likes, we are positioning ourselves accordingly. One thing you've mentioned is the issue of coffee. That's agro, basically. So those are going to be goods, ideally. So working with different flagship programs, for example, the PDM, looking at working with entities like Ministry of Agriculture, MAIF, and also UIA and the likes, we are positioning ourselves to make sure that we can have these value chains well developed to attract the market across the continent. Now that calls for the aspect of how do you ensure market access is achieved, how do you handle issues to do with standards and compliance, which potentially could be technical barriers to trade. So those engagements at that level, we participate in these engagements, Honorable Minister, and we're able to appreciate ourselves to see how we position ourselves. But then, last but not least, majority of our key actors, of course, largely the private sector, as much as we know that 90% of Uganda's private sector is largely MSMEs, about 70% of these MSMEs are informal. So, and these are issues that really we can't run away from. And so it's something
how
really...
many SMEs are informal?
70% almost of the 90% that make the private sector who are MSMEs are largely informal. So one of the strategies to position themselves either to look at bulking and aggregating, of course, is through the cooperative movement, honorable members. It's much easier to get the different youth in a Kumi municipality, honorable, to actually aggregate them together and form cooperatives to have that formal aspect. Then you can begin building capacity, supporting them with business development, support skills, value addition, and for them to be able to make a living. So it's not something that is going to be happening in one shot. It's a phased manner, but we are committed to really ensure that this works out.
When should I visit the ministry? We'll complete that talk from there, because I know there is not much airtime here. When should I come?
I think, honorable member, my PS, I think, will send that invitation, I suppose. But
I don't need a written invitation.
Yeah.
For me, I'm ready to come.
Sir, come, we can discuss the way forward.
Thank
in
you.
that regard. Thank you,
Okay.
sir.
Chair, if you can allow on SFTA, thank you for the response. But specifically, I asked, how can our local people, and I gave an example of coffee, because I know on the continent, the coffee we take, we import it, very unfortunately. Much of the coffee we take. Now, if you were looking for a way to support Ugandans and to participate in this agenda, I think coffee would be one of the lead products that you would be putting on the market.
Yes.
Because then you can convince all markets here to take Ugandan coffee. My question, I know they are big players, but I want to know how the opportunities within this agenda can be tapped into by the farmers in Kasanda.
Yeah, thank you, Honorable. Honorable Chair, thank you once again. So there's a different approach you're going to take, Honorable Member of Parliament. One, as a Ministry of Trade, for us to reach Kasanda, your people in Kasanda, we work closely with the Ministry of Local Governments and especially our district commercial officers. And we've got a conditional grant that we normally offer to these district commercial officers, the respected departments, that support them in different aspects. And one of them is through capacity building, business development support, marketing access, support strategies, and value addition as well. So I think that would be the smallest unit where we can actually be able to know what they do, and we have that platform to negotiate with them. But bottom line, there are many aspects that also are more likely to take on moving forward, because one, through the cooperative movement, as I've said, Honorable, is that it's the easier route for us to know what they can actually do. But again, our agency, UFZEPA, that's Uganda Free Zone and Export Promotion Authority, and also other key actors, they're really working hard to really market Ugandan exports to Africa and also to the global space. I think that should be able to work in that. It's work in progress, Honorable. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Border markets.
Thank you so much, Madam Chairperson, through the PS. Yeah, it is true, as the Honorable has mentioned, the government is supposed to work on cross-border markets. Actually, the idea of cross-border market tries also to answer the issue that is coming up on where our traders are stuck. The thinking of government was that we put border markets such that instead of our traders going inside the territory, for example, of South Sudan, which it is always unpredictable, they would instead have their merchandise at the border in these cross-border markets, such that they come and buy. So that was the idea. And what we are trying to do, we wrote to the different local governments to avail the land, and some have given the land. So we have generated a proposal which is at profile stage. It is under consideration in the Development Committee at the Ministry of Finance. So this project is still ongoing and it is in pipeline. Chair, on the issue of the stack trucks, at the EAC level, we have agreed on a tracking system where goods are supposed to carry e-permits. The challenge is that now what happens is that South Sudan is implementing this e-permit, and they wait the vehicles to cross. And when you cross into South Sudan, then they ask for the e-permit. So those Ugandans who have no e-permits now are still stuck at the border, because they know when they enter, it is an issue now of enforcement. But URA is working with the customs of South Sudan to see how this can be sorted. The tracking system was to avoid tax evasion, because now the truck has to be sealed from the point of origin to a point of destination. So that e-permits allows for that kind of arrangement. So that is the cause of the...
But through the chair, I expected you and the ministry to be in touch with the things, because you should have been the ones to advise our people on what to do. That please do not enter until you are sure that you have the e-permit. It should have come from you, because you are the people really driving the trade. By the way, the whole country relies on you. Without you, there will be no food for us.
Madam Chair, maybe I want the person responding to help us to understand this. You know, most of those trucks, they perishables. Just fresh onions, even this yellow banana we call bogoya. Now, staying tomatoes. Now that period, who is going to be responsible for the losses? Those traders.
Madam Chair, I want to request the ministry really to give us what strategy is there to ensure that these business communities or the traders are aware of what they are going through or they are supposed to do, because most of what you are saying is the traders learn when they are in problems. Like in my case, they are just moving at will. When any other person comes, they now begin to bring a policy or a law that you are supposed to pay this and so forth. You must move using this. And now you are talking about there is something in pipeline to put border post. We have requested, at least personally, I've always asked about a border post in my area. No answer is coming up to now. Even this immigration guys brought their thing. They are in town and it is closed for the last 5 years. What is the strategy? As a ministry, do you educate the traders on what they are supposed to be having? Because when they say they are stranded, did they know about it? Or they just bumped into chaos? And that is a loss for the country.
Okay.
Thank you.
Proceed with the answers, please.
Chair, I'm trying to get your attention. I would like to add on that before he proceeds. Officer, I request that you give some explanation to the difference. We have different borders. We have the one of northern Uganda, Senimule, Sudan, something that others like in the eastern, like Busia. What happens? Why should it be that in the border like Busia, when the trade of the foods, we're an agricultural country, so most people on the border would love to sell their merchandise across. But then the other side, people from across, our brothers and sisters, come and buy. So if they're able to buy freely and get, so our people are not able to go over freely because the others have the upper side. And even the little work they would do of communication, lifting is denied for a reason because there's a market. When you go to the northern side, for example, you're talking about traders going from Uganda going the other way. And they're also getting hitches along the way. The Sudanese do not come like the Kenyans to pick. For them, it's the Ugandans who go but get hitches. What this disproportionate way of carrying cross-border trade in terms of the agricultural merchandise? Can you give some explanation to that, sir? Thank you.
Thank you so much, and thank you, honorable members. I think this is a concern. At the ministry, we work with the cross-border associations. I must acknowledge that in the case of the Karamoja area, we need to find out actively. Yeah, you're right, because we always work where there are the systems. Like you say, the border is recognized, but we still have so many porous borders, and government is looking at. And I think that is an issue that we can take on to see how we can now look at those areas where we don't have formal kind of borders that have been established that way. But in others, we have those cross-border associations that help us into this arrangement. Of course, working with the district commercial officers in those border areas, they pass on this information. It might not be reaching at the level it's supposed to be, but we try as much as possible to ensure that through the commercial officers at the border, this information is passed on. On the issue, Madam, yes, you're right. Or in some instances, Kenyans, for example, come to Uganda and buy products, and they are restricted in that area. And the government has taken note of this, and we're trying to see. We have done a regulatory impact assessment, especially in the grain sector, and we're trying to see what measures we can put as government to ensure that these people don't come in even at the level of gardeners and buy. That it is something that is there. Of course, there have been a gap in the law. We have not been having strong legislation to handle this, but it is something that we are taking care of. Another issue that we are trying to do, we are using joint permanent commissions. Because we have realized that some of these issues, you find that now the current issues between Uganda and Kenya, Uganda and South Sudan, we also hold this kind of arrangements. One MP was saying that have we had political? Yes, we do at that level. Ministers engage. You must have noted that even sometime last year, at the end of last year, the minister was moving along the eastern border with Kenya because there were traders raising non-tariff barrier issues that were being honored in that particular instance. So we try as much as possible to ensure that we have those bilateral meetings to ensure that those ones don't happen. Madam Chairperson, on the issue of the hawkers and street vendors, it is an issue of the law. The Trade Licensing Act, which the ministry is responsible for, has not provided for street vendors. You are either a trader in a shop or a hawker, and the hawker is also supposed to walk within a certain distance away from a trading center. But we acknowledge that there are people already working on the streets, and we are working with KCCA and other local governments to see. The ministry was part of the process of the development of markets like in Wandegea, the other ministry of local government. So they are trying to see how they can create space for those people who do, but it is becoming very difficult for them to work on the streets because that one is not even provided for. But even the negotiation is going on, they were looking at possibilities of having weekly markets within, for example, the KCCA. So they have a day, which used to be there on Sunday. It is being revised to see how they can be assisted. But we are working very closely with the local governments and KCCA to ensure that these people have some working space where they can be.
Chair, what is that closely? What do you mean by working closely? Because under the circumstances, Ministry of Trade, the other ones are your people. KCCA doesn't want them on the streets, but you want them to trade. Is it your interest that you want Ugandans to trade? The answer is yes. Now that KCC doesn't want them on the streets, it would have been your ministry to be working up and down to ensure that they trade anyway, even if they are not trading on the streets. That's why I asked for solutions. But you're saying you're working closely. What do you mean closely?
Thank you, member. Actually, before you answer, so that we quickly fix the issue. These are the people, that will be the main catchment for people to benefit from PDM. So you are arranging for PDM for Kampala City, this area. These people who are on the street, give them money, organize them, train them, find them a place so that you get the next people who are going to register their businesses formally, and you get more tax. Okay. How I wish we could do that. You see, Madam Chair, how we have been very useful team, but they take so long to come here. They only wait for accountability days like this one.
They interface with the sectoral committee on some of those matters.
Just one chair through you, sir. Now the hawkers in Kampala City, for example, the one that I heard loudest when there's an issue, and I know they're part of the informal sector, and one of the members said they would do well raising taxes from them. I don't think the hawkers in Kampala pay taxes, do they? If they don't pay taxes as hawkers, as informal sector, what beyond just getting them a day on a Sunday or so, is there another strategy other than the PDM that we can use to tap into their monies, because they make good monies in a day? They really make money and walk away free. Thank you.
Thank you, members. The history of trade, when we got independence, Africans were not engaging into trading. Trade was a preserve of foreigners and the Indians. As they went out to orient Africans into trade, that's why hawking was allowed, such that Africans could learn from the people having shops and go and distribute countryside their products. Secondly, they would also trade into markets. That's why either you would be a hawker at that level or you'd be trading in a market. And a market was like a nursery school where you go and you learn, then you get the capacity, and then you elevate and you can be into your own shop. So the situation now is that the idea that we are trying to think of as government is that was in the 60s. The situation now has changed, because a market vendor is no longer being in the market to be there for a short time and go. He's there to stay, because the idea was that he will stay there for a period, he gets the capacity, then he moves and another one comes in. But what we are trying to do, like I said, is that if you look at the laws available, you can either trade in a market, trade in a shop, or you become a hawker outside of it, a main trading center. So the idea now is that what we should concentrate on is how do we get them working spaces in forms of markets, and even maybe shops if government can put up the resource and that. But that is an issue that we are trying to do. That is the way we are working with the KCC, because we are already aware that we also need trade order. Because you find somebody has paid a trading license in a shop, but now there is somebody obstructing. And the law is very clear where you are supposed to be doing your own trade.
Has a trading license also?
The hawkers are supposed to get a hawker's license, and I said they are supposed to hawk at a certain radius away from a main trading a trading center.
That radius will drive them away from
Honorable colleagues, let's proceed. We are running short of time. Hope we are done with that side. One, okay?
Thank you, Honorable Chair and members. I think for me, as a Commissioner for Industry and Technology,
okay.
the concern was raised on the industrial parks and what are we doing to make them active. The industrial parks model is one of the approaches we have taken as government to fast-track industrialization in this country. And what has happened so far is that we've rallied the private sector and most especially local governments to avail the land. The land that we have so far mobilized is to the tune of about 89 square miles. And the approach we are going to take is to ensure that this land is secured. Feasibility studies are undertaken to set up. I also want to give information that where are we now? Of course, the strategy for government is to have 27 industrial parks.
23 will be looking at the general goods, for focusing on the on science and technology parks. The progress we've made, we have now 10 operational industrial parks. 10 operational industrial parks. And our definition for the operational industrial parks is where we have got the minimum infrastructure. Not everything is already in place. Where at least the roads are in there, electricity has been availed, and the water. But and these we have Kampala, Buyogerere, Ruzira, Soroti, Kasese, Eonshen, Tangshen Industrial Park in Mbali, which is popularly known as Saino, that has really transformed the whole of that area. Because if you have now a tune of about 57 industries already attracted in Mbali. We have MMP Park in Buyukwe, then also Gazi Industrial Park. What are we doing to make them active? The critical thing is that infrastructure I've talked about, and government through Ministry of Finance, we secured financing and to implement a program called Invite, which is investment for industrial transformation, and part of the resources are going to be used to undertake the feasibility studies, facilitate the construction or putting in place of the requisite infrastructure. In terms of, to give information, what we have about 645 factories that have gotten space and are operational. In my industries register, which is that's countrywide.
Honorable Silas, let them conclude because.
And that is a reflection of about 10%. To the other concern to me was the Kumi. Kumi is, I will check, but for that region, the focus is been to ensure that we fast track the Soroti Industrial Park to the extent that we can have many factories in there. What I can report, 4 factories are already in there, including our softy, and we continuously work to ensure that we have people there. Now, for what shall we do for Kumi? We'll continue working with our district commercial officers to profile the enterprises in there, but I also want to speak strongly that between Kumi and Parish, we've attracted there 2 factories. One is dealing with cotton, another one is adding value on cassava to do starch. So we'll be able to, what I can only say that we'll be able to engage with the district commercial officer and also with you as the member of parliament for the district. Thank you.
The issue of the road that passes through Namambe from Ojokas. At one time I called the minister for, I think works, or General Katomba, because we realized a lot of traffic jam for us, the people who move to the east. And I thought that that road from Nambole, the stadium, via Joker's Hotel, then it goes to Namave, the park, connecting to UCU Mukono. The minister said that road is for you people to construct. I don't know whether that is true. Under the plan for development of the industrial park. Yes, and really, we are grappling with the issue of a jam. We normally come here late because of that road. And you are the people responsible for the jam. So what are you going to do about this? Is it true that this road is supposed to be developed by you, that you are the ones who have the budget? Because he claimed it so. Is it true?
Thank you, Honorable. Under the plan for Namave, that road is considered, but for the last 1 year there were challenges of financing, which so far now been addressed to. I want to report that construction is ongoing. Actually, the plan and what has been done, where the road is being made to go beyond roofings, connect to Namilyango, and go straight up to join the road that Katosi Road. So it is happening. It is happening. Why I think the Honorable Minister of Works said that it is our ministry handling it. We provide technical and political leadership for the manufacturing program, and that is where it is budgeted for. Thank you.
Honorable colleagues, we need to proceed. Accounting officer, you need to just take note that as the technical team, people are interested in seeing, a conducive economic environment for them to make business. You see, we can tell a lot of stories, but the practical part of it is very important. Let us speak interest in the chain of distribution, movement of goods, and we see how best we can advise the community, and in time. The volatility of prices of agricultural products, for those ones, for some of us who come from, those village constituencies, you fail even to tell you upon what to do, because prices are, skyrocketing anytime. Reduce, increase. But I think as a ministry, we should get concerned. We know you are doing a lot, but people want to see that conducive economic environment. As you also think about the fertilizers, the quality. We are as agriculturalists, we are suffering a lot. So trade, when it comes to the issue of ensuring that we avoid counterfeit on market, people are seriously suffering. So we are living up to you. The plane is in the space. Ensure that we have a safe landing, if you can afford, to do it. Honorable colleagues, we're going to go straight to, let's go to 1.2. Compensation to affected tobacco farmers. Madam PS, the Minister of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives, in the crop year 2018, licensed 3 tobacco companies to sponsor tobacco growing activities in the region of Bunyoro, Southwestern and West Nile. The above companies failed to pay the tobacco farmers who supplied them with tobacco in the same crop year in the regions that have been mentioned above. Subsequently, in the letter dated 19th November 2029, His Excellency the President of the Republic of Uganda directed the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development to compensate the tobacco farmers for unpaid dues by the above licensed companies. The internal Auditor General, in a letter dated 14th September 2020, was requested by the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives to verify the claims made by the farmers. The internal Auditor General indicated that the liabilities were totaling to 9.7 billion. And these were owed by the 3 companies. So during the period of review, UGX 9.7 was appropriated by the ministry to the Ministry of Trade and Cooperatives for compensation of tobacco farmers in the West Nile, out of which 8.7 had been paid so far. As of 30th June 2025, Uganda shillings 1.52 billion due to tobacco farmers in the West Nile remained unsettled in the ministry's account at Bank of Uganda. The non-payment of compensation funds exposes the government to fines and penalties. So, Madam PS, the auditor notes that the accounting officer, you have failed to, first of all, recover the money from the companies because you are paying on behalf of the companies. We are looking at the 1.5 billion that you have not yet paid. So what's the way forward? What is your response on this matter?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. On receipt of the directive to clear all the affected farmers and funds for compensation from the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, the Ministry in a letter consulted the Attorney General on how the funds will be recovered from the defaulting tobacco company. In response, the Attorney General advised that since government was not part of the contract between the company and the affected farmers, and that since the directive had to be implemented, farmers had to sign their outstanding loan balances to government through a deed of assignment form, which was designed by the Attorney General. It's attached as Annex 1 to our responses. And the deed of assignment is to enable the Attorney General recover the funds from the company. So the ministry proceeded to pay the affected farmers, and as a requirement, all farmers that were paid signed the deeds of assignment, which were also in the presence and witnessed by the Chief Administrative Officers, Office of the Internal Auditor General, and also a representative of the Attorney General. So those deeds will be the ones which will be used to recover the funds from the company. My Commissioner Internal Trade was the responsible officer who implemented this activity. He can make a few remarks.
As the Commissioner comes in, can we get the details of these farmers and how many were they?
Through you, Honorable Chair, the Commissioner Internal Trade can give you that brief.
Yes, Honorable Silas.
Yeah, it will be good just for confirmation for us to know whether there is no other farmer out there still complaining or claiming for payment as we talk now, or by the time of the audit.
Thank you, Chairperson, through the PS. Yes, true, like the PS has mentioned, each farmer that was given money had to first assign their loan to government, because the contract was between the farmer and the company, so there was no government would come in to pay. So we have a list. I've carried the book of all of the deeds of assignments, a copy. We had put a blank copy for you, but we have a copy here detailing all the farmers. And I must say that out of the 993 farmers that signed the deed of assignments, 987 have been paid, and there are only 6 farmers who are yet to be paid because they have wrong accounts. We are struggling to see that they get wrong accounts. I mean to get the correct accounts to pay their amounts. There are only 6 as per our record.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Honorable.
Those 6 represent the citizens of Uganda. And I'd love to find out for how long their money has not been paid. After paying the rest, this was outstayed for how long? How long does it take to open an account or correct it? Because for us now, we get information from banks. However, we can open for you an account now. And in 1 minute, it will be ready and you can transact. We can give you a loan. So how long does it take to correct a mistake on an account? And why is it taking forever? Unless you people have another motive altogether. For
Honorable Mudimi.
Yeah, Madam Chair, government came in largely to salvage because those 3 companies, Continental and the others, they had issues because they had no money to pay the farmers. And now you are saying they have signed a deed of assignment when they still have issues of finances. How are they going to, government, how are you going to recover this money from the company? Have you put a mechanism in place to see how? Because it came when they had failed completely because they had no money.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, Chair. I think for the 6, I must tell you, Honorable Member, that we have received instances when the same farmer has given us, on occasion, 4 accounts, but when you pay the money again bounces. I don't know, you even call the bank, but we have tried, and I must say even the 6 now, we have now finalized, and by maybe end of this week, they should have been paid. But on the issue of, yes, it is right, the companies had failed to pay. That is when the President intervened. And of course, the Attorney General now has a loan. These companies are now indebted to government. So we shall look at now that maybe that is an issue of recovery. But what we have now is that the farmers now have sold their loan assigned their loan to government, so government can now begin from there.
And the companies have committed in writing to pay.
Can we have the details of those companies on record?
Madam Chairperson, I want to make it clear that the Internal General finding was 1 company for this 9.780 million.
Which company was that?
That is Continental Tobacco Uganda Limited.
Continental Tobacco Uganda Limited.
Yeah.
Okay.
After the verification of the internal auditor general, that was the company that owed farmers money, and that is the money that the government was giving.
So meaning there are no other farmers complaining from these other companies?
I'm not sure, but at the moment...
Madam Chair, they paid some from Bunyoro side some time back. There was a payment for Bunyoro, West Nile, and if you are saying it's only a Continental, previously...
For Bunyoro, it was handled and the case was closed.
The company.
But now, for this financial year, that is under review. That was for Continental.
Okay, the reason as to why we are asking whether there are no other farmers that, you know, that these companies owe money is because they all deserve, you know, a right to be paid. Yeah, so that's the reason as to why we are saying as a ministry, it's in your interest to ensure that if there are other complainants, you see how best you can help them. You remember some time back we had this issue of the traders in South Sudan. We still have some of those pending payments. All these over how many years, you see? That thing has never been settled. I don't know, colleagues. You remember the South Sudan issue? It's now close to how many years? Decades. I mean, people have lost money. Others died. People are there in villages languishing. So if we have an opportunity to save our colleagues from some of these financial and economic, you know, embattlements, let's have them helped.
It will be of your kind interest to ask them to give you evidence of that payment to the remaining 60 farmers, because they are saying that within this week, maybe even they are going to pay them, which I'll be happy, because we speak for them. Even you, when you have issues that you cannot speak for yourself, tell us. We will speak for you.
So that you
so
speak
please,
for him.
Yes.
Yeah, as a representative of the people. So for the issue of tobacco, you will give us evidence after payment, because by then the report will not, we shall be still under processing. We need to really see that our colleagues get their money. So honorable colleagues, we have the issue of the tobacco settled. We go to section 2, report on audit performance and compliance to the regulatory framework. You have unimplemented procurements. The auditor assessed the entity's procurement plan against the implementation status and noted that the entity planned to execute procurements worth 19.01 billion during the financial year 24-25. However, the total awarded contracts amounted to 11.32, representing an implementation rate of 60%. Contracts amounting to 11.132, representing an implementation rate of 60%. Contracts amounting to 4.7 billion, which remained unimplemented. So the table below indicates the activities that were not implemented. These included advertising, computer services, equipment maintenance, carriage, architecture, building and facility, business management and consultancy. What happened on this? Why didn't we implement these procurements?
Well, thank you, Honorable Chair and members. Most of these procurements that were not implemented really were because of inadequate funding, but we rolled them over to this current financial year. And currently we are also revising our procurement plan every quarter to make sure that where we don't have adequate releases, like in this current quarter, we only procure what fits within the funds that have been released to us.
I forgot to ask you about the staffing capacity of the ministry. Staffing, are you okay?
Honorable Chair, we have serious staffing gaps as a ministry. However, in our proposed budget for 2026-27, Ministry of Finance has given us additional funding to fill the remaining vacancies that we have. So we are hopeful that in the forthcoming financial year we'll be able to fill those staffing gaps.
Currently, I mean, kindly, if the human resource person is around, we need to have the actuals of how many, what is the structure versus the actuals that you do have. Reason, we arise, you know, you cannot commit to offering timely and quality services when you are understaffed. Number two, your colleagues are out there unemployed. You have the wage bill, but you've kept quiet with the money. So we need to ensure that as long as we have the wage bill, we should employ people. Number two, we cannot commit to provision of quality services when we are understaffed. You see? So human resource needs to give us, the details of. Yes.
On still the issue of the contracts, the procurements. If you look at the statement from the Auditor General, the total amount for the awarded contracts were like at 11 billion. But the contracts that remained unimplemented stood at around 4 billion plus. Why would you commit government by signing contracts when you are sure money is not there? Because you are saying that the problem was about money, why would you bind the government on a contractual agreement to offer services and goods while not being certain about the availability of funds, if I got it right?
Is it true that these were contracted out?
Honorable Chair and Honorable Member, those activities were not contracted
just
out.
planned for.
It was just planned for.
But
Unfortunately, because of inadequate funding, they remained on the procurement plan. The mistake was that we left them on. We should have taken them off the procurement plan.
Okay.
But you see, Madam Chair, the auditors, whatever here is very clear. They are saying awarded. Awarded means what? Just award, but no contract. Just showing that they have won the contract, but maybe I need to be.
Yeah, the total awarded contracts.
Is it just about notifying the person that you are the winner, but there is no contract yet to be signed? Maybe I need some clarity, because for me I don't understand it.
Honorable Chair and Honorable Member, what was awarded was only 60% of the procurement plan. The balance was not awarded because the funds were not available.
Look at the report. Maybe, Madam Chair, you need to ask the Auditor General to help us on this.
Honorable.
If you complete that statement and read it fully.
No, it says, however, total awarded contracts amounted.
Yes. And the other one, the 60%.
You have
the four.
You have the procurement plan figure of 19. You only awarded for 11 billion. You did not award for 4.5, though still the figure doesn't balance. You see?
And then finally, Madam Chair, whether they put in an effort to follow up to get money to fulfill their desire. Do you have any evidence that you wrote to finance? You ask the government, you push, because if you just, government attends to those who put government on pressure. If you stay comfortable, government will be comfortable with you.
Honorable Silas, unfortunately enough, we would love to see a public service that works without, calling somebody. Please, you can call for minor, but at least just imagine, she told you in the third quarter they received only a budget for recurrent. They never received for development. We agree we've been having challenges of budget implementation across government agencies. And that's why in our engagement with the Minister of Finance, these are the things we have to bring on board. Budget performance has been poor across these entire entities. And it's a cost to the country. People are paid to sit on table. If government pays if it gives you money for recurrent and doesn't give money for development, that means literally people are idle in office. So it is a cost to government. None of us gains out of it. So it would be in our interest to ensure that we plan appropriately. There must be, proper planning, and we over-excite the public. At the end of the day, even it demoralizes the people. No one would love to sit in office without doing active work. So can we have a response on the human resource gap?
Madam, the procurement?
On it. Though I wanted them to first clear the issue of human resource. Then we...
I just wanted to inquire.
Okay.
On the 4.8 they are awarded. Many times we have a problem where entities don't take consideration of the resources availed to them in terms of the warrants. And we have requested that where you have warrants that are clear to you, like I want to believe that this 19 was available, you can go ahead and start processing some of this procurement, but though not concluding them, such that in the event that the resources come even in the last quarter, you are able to sign in and they proceed. So I want to find out, were these among those that were processed, just watching in case the resources land and you're just signing them to avoid being swept?
Thank you, Honorable Chair and Honorable Member.
I should wait for the chair to come back. If you
Let us proceed. Sorry, it was an emergency.
Yes,
sorry.
It's okay. At 92.1, the last sentence is saying clearly that the contracts amounting to UGX 4.757139 remained unimplemented. And I want to believe that the Auditor General was very clear in their mind when they chose the word contracts. A contract is not just an award. Contracts. It has a meaning, the dictionary.
Honorable Chair and Honorable Members, if I can take you back to that beginning of that paragraph 2, it says, I assessed the entity's procurement plan against the implementation status and noted that the entities planned to execute procurements worth 19 billion. It was a plan. However, what was implemented and the contracts that were awarded amounted to 11.32 billion, representing an implementation rate of 60%. Contracts amounting to 4.75139 remain unimplemented. Why? Because the procurement plan on the EGP, once it is approved by senior management and top management, it is published on the EGP. So EGP reflects the figure. It's like a wish list. So for better performance management, every quarter we should be reviewing that procurement plan against the releases that we receive, so that we adjust it accordingly. And on EGP, the figure that reflects should be the figure that matches with the funds that we have received. Unfortunately, we did not match the figures that were received with what we had initially published on the EGP. So EGP kept reflecting a figure which was not the funds that we had received.
In other words, we should have not called it these contracts. We should have called it a different thing. A wish list of activities.
It was like a wish list.
Or something.
Yes.
Yes, Honorable Samba.
She talks about the EGP, yet 5.5 billion. She implemented it, she made procurements without using the EGP.
We are going to get there. We are going to get there.
But I mean, she was talking about it that, you know, as she's busy using the EGP, it looks like everything was about EGP, but when actually some of the procurements, you're implementing them outside the EGP.
We can finish it together, Chair.
Madam Chair, you need to interrogate this issue further. 34.7 is there. That's an issue. We need to go slow. And when we are touching, we should not touch with live hands.
No, for me, what I was looking at was, if the procurement plan total was 19 billion, yes. The contracts awarded were for 11. Then we have this 4.7. We need to see where is the balance.
That one. That's 4.7.
So,
contracts awarded.
Madam Accounting Officer, as we do proceed with handling these others, we need to see, because this is a statement of the auditor, yes. Not hers. But still, it's your duty to ensure that things balance. If there is something that has been either over or understated, it's your duty to give clarity to the audit on the matter. So I request that you, I know you have a person in charge of procurement. I had somebody introduce themselves as procurement. The auditor is around. Let the person responsible keep checking on this. Let's see why 19, 11, and 4, because we literally 5. Is it the 5 that is here that wasn't on the EGP? Could that be that?
It's the 4.7 according to her.
It's not the 4.
According to her.
The 4 was part of the plan. It was part of the system, though she says it wasn't implemented.
She says
but then, Chair, there is 2.9. 2.933, which is not adding up.
Madam Chair, according to her submission, which is on record, this 4.7 wasn't reflected. The system didn't reflect it. So maybe as you request the person of procurement to
no, on the EGP it will show. It will show that this is your procurement plan. It will show. That's why I'm querying them. It will show that it's part of the plan, though it's implementation that
I'm following her response. She's saying the EGP didn't show. Unless I didn't get it right. She could repeat the explanation for the 4.7.
Honorable Chair and honorable members, I said that the EGP reflects the 19, which was at publication, the plan. However, while we implemented, we were supposed to be adjusting that plan to suit the funds that we have received. So every quarter, we should be reviewing that procurement plan to match the funds that we have received. If I give an example like this quarter, we have not received funds under development. So if there were plans to procure items under the development budget and we got zero release, the funds that were reflected for quarter 3 on EGP will be showing those funds that we had planned for. However, internally we should clean up that system and show, since we had zero release, there is nothing we can procure
that's why
under that. So it was an internal, I would say it was an administrative.
We wanted you to come slowly.
Anomaly.
Planned is 19. On the system, you received how much money? The one which was supposed to be reflected. Was it 11? The planned was 19. Let's go systematically.
Yes.
Planned, 19.
Yes.
How much did you receive?
According to the analysis, it's 11 that we received.
11.
Yes.
What about the 4?
We didn't receive those releases. And if I can follow also the honorable member who asked, do we write? We have evidence of letters where we have written to PSST for additional cash limits to address those gaps. We will furnish the committee those letters.
Okay. But did you give me details of the HR, human resource?
Chair and members, through the permanent secretary, the staffing structure of the ministry stands at 242 vacancies. Out of those, 166 are filled and on the payroll, representing 68.6% filled. We have an ongoing recruitment of 18 vacancies. Those are various vacancies which are ongoing in Public Service Commission. And as PS has highlighted, in the coming financial year, we anticipate to fill the rest of 58 vacancies because we have been providing with money. Chair, allow me to give the highlight of the wage. In 2025-26, our wage allocation is 4.43 billion, and in the coming financial year, it has been increased to 5.4 billion. So we feel our staffing capacity will improve and will be able to handle. However, the structure itself as it is does not address the needs of the sector. It is still small. It needs more vacancies to be in and more specialists. So we also need to review, we are thinking of reviewing the structure in the coming financial year to address the needs of the sector. All those issues we have been raising, the supervision of the border markets, interacting with the SMS, the structure as it is cannot drive the agenda to this direction. So we pray that in the coming financial year we revise the structure to meet the needs of the sector.
Yes, Honorable.
Actually, they are the ones responsible for the structure. You don't need even to ask anybody. You are the ones who initiate. So we're waiting to see what you are going to do. Okay.
You've been taking forever, but action is needed. I wanted to find out, did you talk about the time when this structure was released? As old as what? Was it the one of 1962? The one we are running?
Actually, it was released after the RAPEX. It is now combining the RAPEX. You know, we have a new department which came on, warehouse department. So during implementation of RAPEX, the structure was revised to cater for this department which came from warehouse. Incidentally, it did not increase when the existing structure.
Yes, you just decided to consolidate all the things of a long time ago, and you call them new. So we are waiting. That's why the chair is concerned.
But in addition to what he asked, he wanted to know how old is the existing structure that we are operating in, save for the RAPEX thing. How old is the structure? Before the merger. Yeah, that is the real existing structure. The one that doesn't address the current challenges. That's why I was asking, is this the structure before independence, after independence? Oh, but a one. So,
Chair, do you know the ministry had gone so many metaphysics? It was merged with tourism at one time. It was merged with another one. So now it has become difficult to say it is for 1962. But this one which we are having, which we are using, was approved and communicated by the Ministry of Public Service around May 2025. That's why we call it a new 25. Yes.
So, Honorable Chair, I also wanted to supplement that when I was appointed a permanent secretary to the Ministry of Trade, we had a meeting with the affiliated agencies, and we agreed that the structure cannot implement the tenfold growth strategy as is. So we wrote to PS Public Service to review our structure to match this ambitious plan of government, and she communicated back to us and told us to wait for completion of RAPEX. So that's what has caused the delay. Not that we were not proactive, we actually were proactive, but now that RAPEX is winding up, we are engaging again that we have our structure reviewed to match the challenges that are ahead of us and this plan that we have to transform our economy.
You can be assigning some officers responsibility as you wait for critical ones. Like now the issue of the border, that was really hot. Aside.
Honorable Member, through you, Honorable Chair, we actually, the Commissioner External Trade sent one of his officers, a principal officer actually went there and wrote a report. It is against that report that we were able to communicate to the PS Miaka to help us forward the matter to COMESA and ESC for resolution. But an officer went, actually, when the outcry came out, there was an officer who was sent to assess and make a report to top management.
Thank you. Honorable colleagues, our interest is to have these ministries staffed. Number one, at least in the interest of offering timely and quality services. Number two, reduce the unemployment rate in the country. If we have the wage bill, let us employ people. Honorable colleagues, we switch to procurements outside the EGP. Why did we execute procurements worth 5.5? Actually, from the 11.3, the 5.5 were implemented outside the EGP. What happened?
And Madam Chair, before she responds, I don't know whether this EGP thing is backed up by the law. Is there any, I don't know, guideline, regulation, or what that supports it? I don't know. Because EGP has become so common on the microphones.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. And
Madam Chair, maybe the accounting officer should harmonize on these figures well. 5 EGP, 11 contracted, and then 4. We have 2.93 that has to be harmonized. Now, if we put 11 with 5, the balance is not 4.7.
Yes, please.
Thank you, Honorable Chair and Honorable Members. The head procurement is here. He can respond on that issue of the 5.58 and maybe clarify on why the 4.7. However, at the time when we joined this ministry,
When was that?
2024, October 2024, many internal controls were lacking. So we instituted some internal controls, but given that it was probably a learning experience for us and the teams that were working, it took some time. And currently, we are now having framework contracts so that most of the procurements are handled through framework contracts by issuing call-off orders. But at that time, many things were being done outside the EGP.
So we admit that the query is sustained. She admits that many things by then were done outside the EGP. Do you have to
Chair, she's not here to account for things that were done before her. She's here to account for things that were done when she was the accounting officer. And that's what she should account for. Just giving an excuse that identified system. Yes, you rectified the systems. But still 5.5 billion remain being used outside the EGP. If you implemented anything out of the government system, because the system is intended it's a control measure. Did you seek approval? Is there any approval? That I came in, I found no systems to handle this. Can I do this? And who approved?
And the auditor clearly states that failure to utilize the system to implement procurements undermines the government's effort to enhance transparency, accountability, and procurement process efficiencies. Though I've noted that she said, if I got her well, that by then things were not moving on well. When she came, when they came up with framework contracts, and these are the measures of ensuring that they mitigate this kind of operation. That's why I was saying query sustained, because it is true, procurements were what? Handled outside the procurement, the EGP system. So that's why I was like, can we proceed? Because she admits that, there were errors in and there. So I beg that we sustain the query and move on. We shall make conclusions in our in-house engagement.
Maybe OFCAF can we hear some of the procurement that were done outside the EGP? What were those specifically?
Then, Chair.
Yes, Honorable.
As we get those procurements that were done outside the EGP, I just want to confirm what was the total amount of contracts awarded, both in the EGP and otherwise?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. To respond to the Honorable Member on what kind of procurements were contracted outside the EGP, most of them were really travel abroad, because the activities, our core business really is export promotion, and most of our activities require the ministers and technical teams to go for these joint the JPC meetings, these bilateral and multilateral meetings, which happen across the African continent, but some even abroad. So sometimes we get those, at that time, we would get these invitations from MIACA, usually maybe a day before the travel is supposed to take place. So by the time you put into EGP, go through that process, then the minister would not be able to travel, the technical teams would not be able to go to defend some of these agreements. So those kind of procurements were handled outside the EGP because the minister had to go and the technical teams have to go to support, and some of the Council of Ministers meetings and the like. However, we now put in place framework contracts. Now we don't have that impromptu. Even if we get the letter today, since we already have the framework contracts, we issue call-off orders to the service providers, and we no longer have that process of handling things outside the EGP. We make sure that the paperwork is handled, they can travel, they will be issued the ticket, and we work on the paperwork on the system. So those challenges we no longer have now. We used to have them at that time, but not anymore. But the head of procurement is here, he can clarify on the issues you've raised.
Accounting officer, you know, accountability is evidence-based. We've had you speak to issues of travels and those others, but there is no evidence that those are the exact areas where money was spent. Can you provide details of those contracts that fall under the 5.58 billion among the submissions that you will make?
Yes.
Reason, we cannot rely on a verbal submission.
Yes.
So we need to have these details.
We can hardly believe that all of the 5.58 billion was travel abroad. You are right, Chair. Thank you.
Chair, can the auditor, normally the auditor has been handy.
I tried to consult. She has moved out. So as she comes back, could be she can catch up with the team this other side to see whether those details can be provided. So, honorable colleagues, can we proceed on irregular reduction of the minimum bidding period for the procurement of motorcycles? What was the value of this? The contract value was how much? But audit review revealed that contracts committee approved the procurement on 12th. They are giving details of these dates, but wanted to know the value of this contract. Do we see anything concerning money? No. Acquisition of motorcycles to be distributed to the PDM arrangement under open domestic bidding. How many were they? Can we have details about this contract? Looking through, there are details of dates. Contract value, how many motorcycles were they? Is there anyone privy to this kind of information?
The procurement person knows.
The head procurement is here. He can give the figures.
No, we need to be on record. Probably you can get a microphone that is free.
Thank you, Chair. The procurement of these motorcycles were 141 motorcycles, which were distributed to the district commercial officers in the local governments. The contract price of this procurement was about 1,897,000,000.
You know, when you are giving figures under accountability, was about doesn't work. You say it was this. You say was about. That means you are not so sure of the figures.
And actually, Madam Chair, I would be happy to hear you talk about the word only. Even when it's too much money, it could end with the word only. So that, yeah.
So commit yourself on this contract value. Be sure of what you're speaking to. If not sure.
Chair, I'm not sure of the actual figure right now, but by closure of this session, I should be able to get the accurate figure and submit it.
That's a good answer. Yeah, have yourself time before we leave. These are the details we are going to give: the contractor, total contract value, and the cost per motorcycle.
Chair, those figures will be available.
Please.
Thank you.
Chair.
Yes, Honorable.
The query here is the procurement played to favor some bidders and excluded others. they shortened the bidding period to favor Mackay Investments and Simba Automobiles. Now that is the query that there is, and he can try to explain that, Madam Chair. Why he did that?
Why did you shorten the period in favor of somebody?
Yes.
Thank you, Chair. It is true that the bidding period was shortened. Why was it shortened, Madam Chair? It was a two-phased procurement. The first time the ministry advertised for these motorcycles, Chair, we learned from the beneficiaries that the motorcycles were broad-based from the users. By broad-based, I mean that the motorcycles were for use across the country in the same terrain. The users observed that we needed to provide motorcycles which were specific to be used in these particular areas, and the ministry found it prudent. And these areas were to be separated into the municipalities and the cities which had better terrain, and the districts which had the bad roads. So we had to classify, to cancel the first process of procurement and classify these motorcycles into off-road and on-road. On-road for the cities and municipalities, and off-road for the district areas. That was the basis of cancellation of the first process. Now, when we cancelled the first process, Chair, we had lost a lot of time in these bidding processes. So we found it that in order to execute this procurement within the same financial year, we had to apply for shorter bidding times in order to be able to achieve this
Chief,
delivery.
we thank you for being creative, but that reasoning can't fly. You know, you cannot compromise on set procedures because, you know, we understand the situation, but, you know, you cannot say we saw this, we appreciate at times there can be an environment that can push you to really compromise on some of these legal requirements, but that cannot exonerate you from failing to follow the mandatory timelines that are allocated. There is a reason as to why they are given those timelines. Yes. There is a reason. Otherwise, it would have been dependent on you to set the timelines. You know, for this transaction, let them be 4 days. Here, let it be 6. So we accept there were reductions in the minimum bidding period. Next time, what you do, you ask for you write to your regulator to ask for a waiver.
Yes.
Where are you seated? Where are the officers for the Ministry of Trade? Farmer's House. You know, I come from Zimbabwe. Where is Farmer's House?
At the center near, just across from Cafe Java's on
Parliamentary Avenue. Where is PPDA?
Lumumba Avenue.
Lumumba Avenue.
A walkable distance, a letter written in the morning, you walk. You know, let's not lie to the public that the laws are so constricted. They are cast in stone
Madam
that
Chair,
they can...
Madam Chair, maybe he has a letter. Madam Chair.
Yeah, wherever it is. The point I want to bring out, you know, there are many times where we fail to deliver services in time.
Yes.
And procurement becomes procurement. When the practitioners are aware that when you face a challenge, you write to the regulator to see how best you can be simplified. You can be given a special treatment on how to offer a transaction in the interest of serving the people. Because at the end of the day, laws are put in place as control measures, but the end result will be offer a service and in time. You see? So that tendency of, you know, that creative, now this is creative procurement or creative accounting, whichever it is.
Chair,
Yes,
you've raised the issue of the authority to waive. Maybe he got it. You could get from him before you conclude. He may have written, maybe it was granted from part of the procurement.
He has told you he creatively handled. Did you ask for anything related to that?
Let him tell us.
Chair, Madam Chair,
It is true that when we requested for the review of the bidding period, it was a management decision in the ministry, and I had to seek due approval of these reductions in the bidding days and notification days in the ministry. Madam Chair, I want to inform the Honorable Committee and the Honorable members that this reduction in bidding days and notification days, I had to seek all due approval, and all this was granted before.
You use the EGP system?
Madam Chair, I want to inform the committee that with the revision of the PPDA Act of 2023, the waivers are no longer thought from PPDA.
But after seeing this query, did you remind the auditors about that change? Because why would this query come to this level? Because now you'd have done everything officially, procedurally well, under the law. How come the query was sustained at your level?
Madam Chair, how much time was available? You're telling us that we had lost a lot of time. How much time was available for you to process this procurement? And in any case, when you come here, there are actually 3 key fundamentals that would enable us finish these meetings quickly. One, looking at your procurement plan. What is it? Did you follow it up? We can look at the recruitment plan and then the other plans, but procurement is one key aspect that interests us here. Remember, procurement is where 3/4 of the resources that we appropriate to you go to. So for that reason, you need to be thorough there.
Chair.
How much time was available to you that you're complaining maybe only a few days was going to make you lose?
Yes, Honorable.
Lose time.
You see, the EGP solves much of these issues. I just want to know whether this project was the EGP.
Yes, Chair.
And that's where you got the waivers to reduce the bidding period?
Yes, Chair.
Yeah, but Chairperson, I would request the officer to give us evidence of their waiver. What the approvals of these waivers? Can you give us the evidence?
Honorable colleagues, before we leave this place, submit the letters, give details of that contract, because this item might have issues of fraud. We can't conclude, but let's get those details.
Chair, I know you're about to run away from that item. Let me make this remark before you
Please.
get away. Now that we are worried about the reduction of the time, I'm also worried about the other demands. For instance, if you had to advertise this contract in several languages, maybe you advertise in only your language. I'm now worried about those other details. Narrowing the space for people to get to know that there's a contract of this nature. So we'll really need to look through this contract in detail properly so that we understand together with you. But if the law was reviewed to allow for management internally to handle reviews, then you'll be lucky. But you didn't tell the auditors. I don't know why.
So, honorable colleagues, yes.
I'm just imagining. Did you realize the user needs when you had already started the procurement? Because like from what you said, it looks like you just initiated the procurement by yourself, not identified by the users, and because of that you could not identify the specifications of the procurement. But at a certain point, that's when you were alerted that, by the way, what you are doing is not the best, will not suit the environment. Okay? At what point did you identify the user needs specifications? And do you agree that by shortening the bid period, you compromised transparency, you compromised competition, and because of that, you compromised value for money? Thank you, Chair.
Yes, accounting officer. You are given permission.
Thank you, Chair. Like I rightly stated, the user needs changes came up after the advertisement, after we had published this in the media.
Then what did you rely on to publish?
That is when we identified the issue of on-road and off-road.
Chair.
What did you rely on to, who initiated, in any case, who initiated that procurement?
Chair, under normal circumstances, if there are change of specification, it is more likely to affect the bidders in terms of like they would give more time to the bidders so that they can respond more appropriately because of the change in specifications. But this is different. This is like a pre-identification of who is likely to do this. You shorten the period, so this one who is more favorable could respond.
Chair, that was not the intention. This procurement, given the threshold, Chair, we maintained this under open national competitive bidding, and it was open to all potential bidders of this country. We maintained it open.
Madam Chair,
the reduction in the bidding days, Madam Chair, were not restrictive. They were communicated openly under our advertisement, our invitation to bid, Madam Chair.
Madam PS, from our observation, it looks that procurement, I don't know, because I asked you who initiated. Because if the specifications are given to you after advert, that means you advertise when you are not ready. And what did you include in the advert? That means when people come to, I mean when because of the EGP, everything is on the system. You run an advert before the documents are ready for you to sell. People will look for documents on the EGP, they will not be there because specifications are not. So that kind of unpreparedness is a cost to the country. That's why we cause these abnormal delays. I mean, those overpricing and these others. So,
Madam Chair, by the way, this is not a simple matter. First of all, there is a negative expenditure. I don't know why the auditors were very, very kind. Because that one could have been avoided. That is number one. Number two, there is a financial loss. Because you made an advert, definitely you paid for that advert. Okay? Then, because you had not borne in mind the right specifications, you had to cancel. And again, you advertise all those. Okay? It is not really a simple matter.
Honorable members, to conclude, accounting officer, you are going to provide the details of this procurement.
But Madam
From
Chair,
the specific, and those others, yes, Honorable.
even as they do that, our procurement person really has to keep our face. Most of you are highly educated. You have papers including, I think, the CIPS, they call them about what? Why would a chartered person go and do a procurement without consulting with the user? So you initiate on their behalf. Who tells you that you are hungry? It is the person who is hungry who tells the others that now I need to eat. Why would you go and initiate a procurement without consulting with the people who need the service? So you procured for them.
You know, they normally tell them, run the advert, we shall bring the specifications.
We shall bring the specifications.
I need to make a correction on that. I need to guide on that.
The needs assessment was not thorough.
That procurement does not initiate any procurements as procurement. We have a user, and this is part of the information, Chair, I request to provide.
Please do, as we take leave of this matter. Lastly is lack of framework contracts. PS, you've told us that is 2.3. You told us because of the challenges that you had in planning and these others, implementing activities outside the plan when you came. Things you tried to really clean the house, and you embarked on use of framework contracts. So here they are saying lack of framework contracts. Are they for the period that, because are you the one who handled the whole financial or you handled part of it?
Part of it, but still from when I came on board, at least we have attached in Annex 2 a sample of the framework contracts that we initiated at that time.
That is Annex 2.
Yes. So when we came on board, there were no framework contracts, but we are still cleaning up.
Okay.
Madam Chair. Madam Chair. Madam Chair.
Yes, Honorable Silas.
The fact that they did an attempt and attached at least a copy of the framework contracts, something, shows that she came along with a broom, ready to clean up. So at least we can appreciate the person is still new and something is happening. Maybe we can leave that matter to that and then we see how to make our recommendations. Madam Chair.
Cleaning should now start mopping.
Being an evidence-based committee, I would have expected you to say, hey, can we have proof that you have actually initiated and started the framework contract? Then we move. But I'm sure you have. Can you provide that evidence?
Thank you, Honorable Chair and Honorable Members. Our Annex 2 is the one sample of at least of the framework contract.
It is as an attachment. Now, Coach Bob says you might get pressure. So we need to stretch a bit for like 5 minutes. Then we come back. Within 20 minutes, we shall be done. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine.
Let's punch out space like this. One, not after me. One, two, three, four, five,
One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine.
Okay, hands like this. Put them like this. Count together. One, two, three, four, five, six. Give us six. Seven, eight, nine. For our heart, we go together, we count together. One. Count after me. Two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine. Okay, here, hands straight like that. Okay, you're punching out space. So you do national duty. One, two,
Coach Bob, thank you. It was a good refresher. You know, sitting for so long is not good for our health. I believe we are moving on well, and within some 20 minutes we shall be done. We are done with issues of procurement, and we have resolved that the contract for this supply of motorcycles be provided to us for further scrutiny. We go to performance evaluation, review funding of your strategic plan. We do observe that you had a budget of 68581, you are given 1.3 trillion with a variance of 636 billion. A serious funding for your strategic plan. Review of the implementation of the strategic plan. The auditor undertook a review of the status of your implementation plan, and from the review there was assessment of the ministry's performance against the set targets over the period of 2020-21 to 2024-25 in terms of overall performance. The entity achieved a performance of 74%, demonstrating substantial progress towards set objectives. 26% of planned strategic interventions and actions were not fully implemented as shown in the details below. These are the strategic plans that were not, actions that were not implemented. Facilitating industrial sector development and competitiveness, develop trade sector and Uganda's trading relationship, improve environment and private sector growth and competitiveness, facilitating the building and strengthening of the private sector institutions, to strengthen the MTIC and its agencies' capacity, strengthening communication function. There is so many. The following were not met during the period of planning. PS, can you take us through what the strategic plan for the 5 years, what it communicates to the country, and what does failure to implement some of these planned activity or planned actions mean? What is the implication to the sector and to service delivery as planned by your entity? And also, as you proceed, you will also speak to the alignment of your plan to the budget in regard to the National Development Plan 3. In other words, let's do with strategic plan implementation.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Our strategic plan was actually cleared by NPA, and we will avail the committee with the copies of our strategic plan. We have identified a series of priorities in alignment with the 10-fold growth strategy and the NDP4. But in relation to this particular matter, our non-performance on the issue you have raised was due to inadequate funding, and these activities have since been rolled over in the strategic plan for the 25-26, 2029, 2030. So most of these activities will be handled in the new strategic plan, but the head planning is here. Mr. Musoke was the one who handled that development of that strategic plan, so he can highlight further on the way forward.
Thank you, PS.
But as you do highlight, we need to go slow. Let's look at the table. Let's respond in relation to the table below, table 3. Table 3 that shows the inconsistencies between the annual work plan and the forecasted strategic plan funding requirements. Whoever is to explain, you need to flow. You flow with this arrangement.
Madam Chair,
yes.
I agree with you, because once you divert from the main road, from the strategic plan, you slow down its progress. No wonder we're seeing here 74% achievement. So the 26%, most of it you might find it is in the versions. Because of no linkage, you implement outside the strategic plan. So you need to explain to us clearly whether whatever you did in the ministry was all from the what? Strategic plan. Because we want to account for the 26%, which was not what? Implemented. And when you carry that balance forward to the new plan, strategy, you are going to create a lot of pressure. Where are those resources coming from? And yet it's just a matter of indiscipline, maybe. So I'd love to understand it properly and clearly.
Thank you, Honorable. Let's proceed.
Thank you, PS. Table 3 Chair communicates our 5-year budget, which was in total 681.9 billion, and during the 5 years received 1,318 billion, and we had a variance of 636 billion. Chair, if you got the actual,
and you need to educate us, first educate us on this, because we are saying the ministry is underfunded. For us, by looking at this budget versus the actual, for us it shows that they gave even more than what we had planned for. So you can explain to us the meaning of this.
Yes, Chair. Chair, according to the interim plan review report, 72% of the actual funding was allocated to subventions. Subventions under the ministry included Uganda Development Corporation by the time.
Excuse me, sir. Madam Chair.
Yes.
Giving monetary subvention shouldn't be an excuse at all. If there was a strategic plan, Madam Chair, strategic plan identifies that this is the ministry, this is a subvention. They are also planned before. What we need an explanation on, how come the strategic plan projected 179 and you got 251? How come in 2021 you projected 64 and you got 254? That can easily help us to understand you. But just saying that because of subvention, you mean you never planned for these subventions?
And
strategic plan?
Before I count in, and besides that, let me tell my brother, my young brother, you now get a performance of 74. And yet you got a funding which is bigger. The two cannot be sisters or brothers even. They can't be in one clan. So what is happening?
Chair, thank you, Chair. Our 5-year plan indicated a funding of 681 billion. In the process, Chair, we received over that. And why do we receive this additional support? Chair, it didn't come to the ministry, but we had subventions in the ministry which got supplementary funding. Supplementary funding was approved by Parliament, was appropriated by Parliament, and this funding went to Uganda Development Corporation, it went to Uganda Management Training and Advisory Center, and the former Warehouse Systems Authority. So that's where the additional money went, Chair. So, and was processed through the normal procedures, and Parliament gave us approvals.
So, just 1 minute only. I wanted to find out then, is it possible for you to quickly dissect the two, so that you're able to tell the percentage in terms of performance for the original, the one for the ministry? Leave out the subvention to UDP. So in terms of performance, whether they release all your money that you needed, however small also, what performance did you realize?
Chair, as a ministry, we didn't...
Cut this one, please. If you move with me on table 3, 2021, your budget was 179.8. You received 251. So should I assume that the 71 went to the subvention you're talking about?
Yes, Chair.
And that implies that you got 100% of your budget.
You needed only 29.
Does it mean so?
No.
No, let's.
Because that's what you're trying to, what you're explaining, that's what exactly it means. It means any extra money you're seeing, came for the purpose, came through supplementary and was for the subvention. I will take it that every extra, where I find the extra, it implies that for you got 100%, your money, your plan, according to your plan, and an extra went to subvention. So it would be easier for you to tell us that, Honorable Chair, 2021, we gave this amount of money to subvention ABC. It's more explainable there, easier.
And actually now our interest will be so much on the balances. You give subventions, you're talking of UDB, they are just near here. We can always cross over and ask. But can you tell us exactly what you remained with and your performance?
Now let's do this. You explain the table, the way it is. Go to the first year, 2021. Explain the figures and we proceed. Year by year.
Chair, I don't have the actual breakdown between the agencies and the ministry. Yeah. As of now, at this moment, I can't give the figures, but I can provide, Chair.
It's okay, but you do the table the way it is.
In the table, Chair, in 2021, our budget was 179 billion, we received 51 billion, and the balance was 71 billion.
251, eh?
Yes. Then 2022, our budget was 64.16, we received 54.4 billion, and our variance was 190 billion.2.
Now, we go to, the budget was 64. So the 254, meaning this 190 was for the subventions, eh?
Yes, additional support.
So that means for that year, the ministry's budget was 64 billion?
Our budget has been very small, ranging between 9 to 13 billion as a ministry.
So this is what was just a plan, eh? This is what you had planned.
So as a ministry, our budget has been fluctuating. The non-wage current operation, non-wage current operation, between 9 to 13 billion.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Honorable Mudimi.
Madam Chair, this subvention is under the ministry. I saw it. Your strategic plan incorporates all.
Yes, but if it comes, we will pass it over.
Yes, of course.
Yes.
But you have to input the requirements into the ministry's strategic plan.
Maybe
because there is a subvention, they don't have a vote. Yes.
Maybe wants to tell us that UDB, the other people also prepare their own strategic plan. So for you, just send the money.
So cumulatively, you can know how much has gone to UDB?
UEDC.
UEDC?
Yes.
Cumulatively?
Yes.
How much?
From here, Chair, I can't tell.
And Madam Chair, Mr. Msoke, you're responsible for this planning under the accounting officer's watch. But I also want to believe that you're coming here with even leaders of your subventions is confirming to the fact that you're running one strategic plan. The head of the institute, the training institute, where is she?
They are not here.
No. Yes, Madam was seated there. Warehouse is here. Warehouse is here. But there's also the training. Yes, she was there.
It was RAPEX to education.
Honorable
Okay,
Chair
whatever the case.
MTAC is now under Ministry of Education, so they now report under the Ministry of Education and Sports, not under Trade. Previously, yes, they would report under Trade, but not anymore.
Madam Chair.
Yes, but nevertheless, you cannot run away from a strategic plan that enables you to facilitate your subventions.
Chair.
Yes,
Chair, did I hear her correctly? I could have missed her. You're saying these subventions don't report to you? That's why they are not here?
Honorable Chair, that's not what I have said. I said that MTAC previously would come with us. Even the last meeting, the engagement we had with PAC, we actually were with them. That was before RAPEX. The moment RAPEX was concluded, they were merged with the Ministry of Education and Sports. So now they don't accompany us
And
for these
UDC?
meetings. UDC is with us.
They are around?
Not at this meeting, no.
Why
They're
not?
here.
And Honorable Samba, actually, you are right to question why not. Because if they are the ones who are taking the biggest chunk,
and
of
they
the
are not
money,
here.
and even when they are processing a supplementary, the supplementary is not for you, it is for them. And then for them, they don't turn up.
I think they are audited independently.
Independently, but they are
reports-
your child.
Their
They
reports
belong
go
to you.
COSASE, not
They
to-
have a vote.
They have no. They are a subvention under the ministry, but their reports go to COSASE.
I don't know. But Madam Chair, you gave a guidance that they should prepare some information for us. They should come out clearly, showing the monies, the strategies for the other subventions, and then ours, the original. We want to really find out your performance. You as you. You were talking about something between 9 and 13, about you are not yet clear.
Honorable
Annually.
Chair, Honorable Chair and Honorable Members, I pledge we can, Mr. Msoke can look for that information, the detailed breakdown, which will show how much the ministry got in each of these years, and it will differentiate what the subventions were from what the ministry's allocations were. We can look for that information and avail it to the committee.
But as we do proceed with providing the information, there is something when I made request of you to give us an explanation of what this means, what's the impact, because I told you from the onset, for us we thought the ministry is well funded. When we looked at these plans, you know, having 681 as a plan, they add you more money. For us, it looked as one of those ones that at least seem to be well facilitated. Now you come here and say most of the funds go to UDC, meaning the ministry stays financially constrained. So that's why we wanted to appreciate how the ministry operates, you know, how you are affected by such a strategy. What does it mean to the country? Because this is our plan for the 5 years, to serve the people. Then you are not funded as expected. Though from the onset it looked as if, it was promising. The reason as why we ask these many questions is because people expect a lot from you. People will bring all the complaints on table. For them, they will not know those things of the strategic plan. So the fact that you have an opportunity to inform the country of, at times, why do you see us fall short of your expectations, is because at times we plan for more, given less, then, output automatically is constrained. Otherwise, even if you submit figures to us at times, so that's why I wanted you to really explain so that people appreciate what the impact of not living up to the expectations of the strategic plan. But even to make matters worse, when they show a performance of 74 of your strategic plan, that indicates that most of the activities were implemented.
Then Madam Chair, additionally, now it sounds like UDC deserves to get their own vote. Because now when their money passes through the ministry, it is now portrayed that they are giving you a bad picture, like you have a lot of money, yet actually you do not have. So why don't you, if it's proper now, start initiating and lobbying for UDC to create their own home effectively by creating a vote and avoid the passing? How can they be getting big money, bigger than for the Parish? Usually for us in a TESO, when you are eating, the father normally, even when they are eating meat, he gets more pieces than the what? Than the children. How can UDC be taking a lot of money as compared to you? And you are still silent about it.
The kid's plate has more pieces of meat than the father.
The one who buys.
So, honorable colleagues, Honorable Shwe, you had something to say? In the interest of time, why don't we? Because we are talking about their 5-year their 5-year strategic plan. Why don't we come to 3.17, the utilization of their warrants, and we see how, because we have a very important matter here. say that we spend most of this time in ensuring that, finding out whether Ugandans got value for the money for 2024, 25 straight away to the activities that were partially implemented. We take note that you had a budget of 279. You spent 277. Percentage performance was close to 99%. Did we have anything that was unutilized? You can help me find out. But our major interest is in the partially implemented activities. Those 18 partially implemented that constituted to 271 billion. When you look at the biggest part of your money, actually close to 98% of your activities were partially implemented. And actually this is where the real budget is. And colleagues, interest yourselves, go to Annex B, gives the details of those activities that were partially implemented. For those ones, you need to explain why do you get money and fail to utilize it, and the impact of that to service delivery. When you respond to that, we shall be done. Is this Annex 8? Yes.
Honorable Chair, Annex 8 is the one that specifies the response to that issue. And we give responses of those that were implemented, fully implemented, and those that were partially implemented, which have been actually rolled over to this current financial year.
I'm looking for Annex 8. Are you there yet? I'm seeing these so many attachments that are not numbered, not labeled. So I don't know how you conclude that it's Annex 8. A8?
Annex 7.
This is the A8?
Yes, A8. After the letter from 16th October, PSST.
Yep.
Then there is an
Okay.
A8.
It is A8. Our interest in those that were partially implemented. Actually, from where the label A8 is, that's where the partially implemented begin from. Finance and administration, you begin from there.
Thank you, Chair. On the first item for finance and administration were subscriptions to international organizations, and it was partially implemented. We hadn't fully paid, but with the funds that we have received now, we have fully implemented. We have been paying our subscriptions to commerce.
You know, the unfortunate part of this is we don't see figures.
Madam Chair, I think we can avail those figures.
Honorable colleagues,
all these have figures attached.
Honorable colleagues, it's very hard for you to proceed on this subject without figures. We need to see how much was allocated, how much did you spend? Did you spend all the money? What happened? So the fact that we have items that are not costed, because the accounting officer, how do you, because we would be speaking to, I mean, this is history. We're talking about money. There is nothing, concerning money. So you will have to, auditor, we need to have figures here. There is no way you can compare, implementation, partial, how much was spent, how much was, I don't know whether it makes sense out of what I'm saying. You get?
Yes, Honorable Chair, I totally agree with you that we should improve this submission and add figures.
Honorable colleagues, kindly allow, we cannot proceed on discussion of a matter that speaks to money without allocating the exact funds, that were meant for some of these activities. That was a very big error to whoever did it. You see? It is something we need to correct, and that makes you reappear. Because this is where money is. This is your budget. Without this, we can't ascertain on how you served the ministry for that period of time. Honorable colleagues, I want to thank you. No? You wanted us to go to the financials? If you have financials for partials, you can't do anything. Except when you have, I don't know, which we can raise, But are they related to these activities that were not allocated figures? Okay, let's.
A few issues that we need the clarification on from the financials, because these financials are really to many users.
True.
And I want to be sure that the head of accounts is but there he doesn't have a microphone. So now that the procurement guru has finished procuring without specifications, we need to be helped. Mr. Accountant, when you look at your statement of appropriation, okay, and you compare it with the cash flow statement, okay, just go to that item of grants, and I want us to move together so that we understand each other. Let's start with statement of appropriation on page 13 of your financials. Okay. And pick that item of grants and other transfers. If you are there, your initial budget was 125.1 billion. I'm just rounding off. Then the adjustments is 115.3 billion. The revised is 240 billion. I'm rounding off. Then the actual is 239.4 billion, if you're already there. And this is your statement of appropriation. Now, I'm trying to trace your actual of 239 in the cash flow statement on page 11. You can also get there. Page 11.
speak the same item, grants and other transfers. Okay, if you are there, what is indicated is an amount of 232 billion. Okay? Yet ideally to help any user, the two figures, given that all of them are cash, would be speaking to each other. But in this case, while the grants and other transfers was budgeted and the actual expenditure is 239 billion, what went to grants and other transfers is 232 billion. So the question is, what about the difference of 7.178 billion? Where did it go? And because I have followed it, I will help you, because we don't want to waste time. I will help you and take you where it went. Okay? Still go to remain on page 11. Okay? I can say that the exact difference when you pick the item of domestic areas paid out during the year. Are you there? That is in a statement of cash flows or cash flow statement. If you are there, that figure of 7.17 billion is the exact amount. Yes, of domestic areas. Now, of course, there is one question. The first question is about diversion, mischarge. Okay? It was grants. The money was budgeted for grants and other transfers, right? And released. You spent less. You diverted over 7 billion to pay domestic areas. I hope we are together. That's why I'm slow. And if you want me to repeat, I will repeat. Okay? Now, over 7 billion is not really pocket change. Of course, we will need authority of diversion, how you diverted it. Then another question is about these areas. These areas, I've tried to trace for them, but I'm not seeing their source. And because of that, I want to take you to statement of outstanding commitments. I'm sure even the accounting office are moving slowly, so she also understands. She will get the point. Statement of outstanding commitments.
Page 40.
Page 40. Okay? When you go to page 40 of your financials, okay, I have tried to look for, first of all, because since you paid these areas should have been there, the ones you paid. But when you look at a statement of rather outstanding commitments, these areas are not there. The ones that are there are 3.1 billion and not paid. These ones which are there crossed the year and you did not pay them.
And were not budgeted for.
And we are not budgeted for anyway. You didn't budget to pay them. Then, in that same statement of outstanding commitments, you see there is that column of prior year's commitments paid during the year. I have looked for 7 billion, which you paid. It is not there. Okay? And now, of course, when you reach at that point, if you haven't given me an explanation,
I will first say you paid domestic areas which were not there, what we call non-existing areas or fictitious what? Areas. You've paid areas but which were not there. And you know what that one means. However, that's why I'm raising these, so that you give us an explanation. Likewise, even if you go to the note, to the relevant note of these areas, still you will find the 3 billion, okay? You will not see the 7 billion. Actually, that would mean that there would be 10. You pay the 7, you remain with the 3, but they are not there. So where did they jump from to get paid? I hope we are together, and I hope the accounting office also has followed. So for now, that would imply that we paid those people who were demanding money, but who were not there. But you explain. Then there is that one I have finished now. There is another that needs an explanation. In the notes and in the comments, I haven't seen where we sold the non-produced assets, which would be land, goodwill, lands, and minerals, and whatever. I haven't seen any note suggesting that. But when you go to your statements, they suggest to any reader that actually land was revalued or part of the land was sold, because revaluing land, if it is going upwards, it would be understood. But in this case, the other financial year, to simplify it, you had a higher figure of land. But this financial year in question, the value of land has reduced. And land can only appreciate. Or else it can reduce when you have sold some land. But when you follow through your financial statements, you don't see anything that is suggesting that. So still it would be upon you to actually take us through and tell us what happened to the land. But to simplify it for you, so that you understand it, look at your statement of financial position, page 10. Page 10. I hope you are there. Okay. By close of financial year 2023-2024, the value of your land and other associated matters or items was 1,425,000,000. Okay, but for the financial year in question, it has reduced to 690 million. And if you follow through that note 27, we can also go there. It actually suggests the same, but it doesn't show whether land was sold. It doesn't show what happened. And with the revaluation downwards, that is quite an 43, yes. My colleague says I got 43. I don't have it. Oh, yes. Yes. Summary of statement of stores and other assets, physical, when you go to page 43. The opening balance shows 690. And it doesn't now speak to the other over 1 billion. So now, Madam Accounting Officer, did you sell some land? But again, page 31, your note, the note which is explaining the other figures in the statement of financial position, is clear that by the end of the last financial year, the value of URN was 1,425,000,000. Okay. However, this now contrasts the one I have just read, because what is closing balance becomes opening balance. It's like when you sleep with the 100,000 shillings in your pocket. Even when you are waking up, that money will be there. If you don't have other people who pickpocket in your house, that money will be there. It's what you start with. So the note is here, but I think that is enough. But where you feel you need some explanation, I will, through the chair I will. But now those are for you to really tell us, so that we get to know what it is. Because Madam Accounting Officer is saying there is no money, but the money has come, again it doesn't go. It is clearing domestic areas, but these domestic areas you trace through and through, we are never there. So what do we pay? Thank you, Chair.
Chair, Honorable Choma, did you also look at page 13?
You can go ahead. There are others, but Chair may not have enough time. But those ones, but you can also add, because I'm trying really.
Yes. Because now the areas are 7 plus 3. But when we look at page 13, statement of appropriation, you didn't budget for anything called areas. You didn't budget for anything called areas. However, you also budgeted for NTR, which you did not realize. Maybe you can now generalize that. You look at the transfers to the treasury, you look at the note 7, and then you look at
yes, Honorable Shah, you had something to raise?
Chair,
yes, you look.
I thought Honorable Choma would also...
Note 20 and so on.
You know, when it comes to these figures, I enjoy listening to him. But page 45. Page 45. Madam Chair, I hope the accounting officer has reached 45. There is a budget line, projects and subvention balances, and there is Uganda warehouse services system, which was rationalized, and it is against the law to... This is against PFMA, which provides for expenditure of appropriation and remittance of unutilized funds to the consolidated fund by the end of the financial year. I hope the accounting officer has noted that.
Honorable Chair and honorable members, yes, I note the issue that the honorable member has raised, and we wrote to Director Banking BOU to transfer that unutilized balance of 307,919,054 shillings to the consolidated fund account, and we have evidence of our communication.
Evidence is what we need.
Honorable members, I request that. Honorable Choma, how many questions do you have for financials? Issues do you have for financials?
You know, Honorable Chair, that narration has very many questions or embedded in.
The narration has so many.
But once it is explained, because you see, you have, for example, these are transfers and grants. You budgeted for them, you've gotten money. Okay, but when you are paying, you have made a diversion. You don't actually, you divert 7 billion. Okay, that is the diversion one. for grants. But 2, now you have used it to pay domestic areas. But you didn't budget for domestic areas. That is 2. You didn't budget for it, but you are paying it. But worse of that, what is really very, very important?
Exercise can't be sustained. Eating can't be stopped. It's even harder to lose weight. Come and give it a try. Genshikang L-carnitine chromium capsules. Plant extract, scientific ratio. Take 3 capsules each time. The active ingredient accelerates fat burning. Eat twice a day. Don't take a detour. Weight loss starts now. Genshikang L-carnitine with chromium capsules helps you stay in shape. Please follow medical advice when taking this product. For more information, visit our website www.hdo.com.
Because as you realize, what's the time? 3 o'clock. I wanted this team to have lunch. They have stayed here for long. Much as we've given them tea, it would be unfair of us to keep them here for... I have 2 proposals. The fact that they are supposed to submit the partial activities that were partially implemented, close to how many billions? 11 billions plus. They have failed to account for that, and that constitutes the gist of this audit. And coupled with the issues that you have raised under financials, plus others that are yet to be to be raised, I find that, and looking at figures at this time, we may not sufficiently get what we would love to get from this side. If you can allow, we have 2 approaches: to either go for lunch and come back, or we give them time, go back, organize yourselves, prepare, come back for specifically 2 items: partially implemented activities and respond to the matters raised under financials, if you can allow. Otherwise, we need to eat. I don't know, for some of you are fasting, but this is a suggestion. I realize that we've been here since midday. I don't know how.
Honorable Chair, I think it should come from them what they can, the option they will take.
Yes.
So,
and as they are actually taking the options, Principal Accountant, you are called Mr. Haruna. Are you the one who was there even last when we had an interface with you? Oh, because now I wanted to ask whether you normally make adjustments when all these are done, they have audited, you have appeared before PAC and everything, whether you really make adjustments to your what? To your accounts. But even, how old are you in the ministry?
I am making 1 year in the ministry.
Eh?
I I am making 1 year in the ministry.
1 year. Yes, because why I'm saying that, it would be to your interest, okay, that you make adjustments. Then you make these accounts up to date, so that you begin from there. As long as you don't make those adjustments, I think the accounting officer will want to go back to internal affairs.
Chair.
Because now, these are glaring issues.
Madam.
Yes,
Chair.
Honorable.
Chair.
Madam Chair.
Chair.
Honorable Samba.
Your suggestion is good, but there when I asked about the 300, the accounting officer quickly responded to it. I wanted to hear that kind of before we leave, or they can request themselves, Madam Chair, about the explanation of the 7 billion. A quick one, because before, if you can't explain, this is when you ask the chair, please let me go and organize myself.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Honorable Angula.
Madam Chair, I think today you've really been very kind, because the moment you communicate that lunch is disturbing us, and yet we know we can still resist, and again you say the second option, they can come. We had really prepared very well for so many questions here, but now we are disadvantaging ourselves financially because of the communication you've made. I think let them go and prepare well, because we know they will still get us here, and we shall raise those very issues. Let them go.
No,
and prepare.
we gave 2
Let them go
options.
and prepare.
We gave options. You know what?
It's up to
you
them
know what?
to
When it comes to financials, you realize we've raised this, but we need to conclude it. We need to handle all of these ones. So it's up to us to agree. If she, I mean, it's that's why I'm forwarding them these proposals. Can we go and have lunch? You come back. Can you go and prepare? Come back, because when we come back, we must finish it. Aruna, we must finish it when we come back. Don't tell us, I've just come, I've just done what. When we come back, we must, conclusively submit on these matters. Yeah, because there are so many other issues under financials. You see? So, and figures speak. So once we begin on it, we must finish.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I would like to go with your proposal that we go and prepare, because the other template of unimplemented, of partially implemented we need to attach figures, and it's a bigger template. I don't think we will have concluded it in an hour's time. And also we need to furnish the information. But the procurements, we have the contract, we can submit that information. That one is available. But on this issue of the 7 billion, it was actually budgeted for in the ministerial policy statement. On page 3, under our approved budget, it was budgeted for. It is classified as grants to international organizations. So that was the money that was the 7 billion. Domestic areas remain unpaid, because at that time we didn't have any money for domestic areas. But these were grants to international organizations, and they were paid. But we can put in together, we'll reconcile our figures, and we'll make a better submission to you, Honorable Chair and members.
Thank you, Madam Accounting Officer. You see, actually now that is the beginning. If it was actually in the ministerial policy statements, whether passed by Parliament or not, it would be in your records. Okay? Actually, it would even be better if it was in your records and money is not provided for. In other words, there was no appropriation for that money. Okay?
Honorable Chair, it was there. Even if you check page 27, under grants and other transfers, it's also captured there. So it was budgeted for in the policy statement.
You see where I find it? Domestic areas, okay? Statement of outstanding commitments. That is 1. 2, the other note of payables. That is 2. 3, in the statement of financial position. 4, statement of appropriation. It is there, budgeted for, but no funds. Okay? Then we divert it because it is here. If it is not budgeted for, okay, statement of outstanding commitments. When you go there, there is only 3 billion. Okay? 3 billion was not paid until the year ended. You still have it. Even what was paid was not reflected. So all those, when you interlink them, your principal accountant will tell you, for now there is nothing that is speaking to the 7 billion. Okay?
And Honorable Member, for that advice, let's go prepare better and reconcile our figures.
No, they can't. They can't do tomorrow morning. But just know, we are going to schedule within the course of this week. Arun, I had something to say.
Thank you, Chair and Honorable Member. The 7 billion.
Then you want to take us back to that? You want to explain it now? Accounting officer, it looks as if Aruna is very ready. So if you are ready, Aruna, let's move on. We can. Do we still have some tea?
No, Chair. No, Chair.
We can order for more tea, and we shall have lunch at around 5.
Honorable Chair, we are not prepared, I don't think, because if I followed Honorable Choma, there are many areas that we need to reconcile. So it's not only one area. So those figures need to be reconciled.
Madam PS and your team, as the Public Accounts Committee, want to thank you for appearing before us. We want to appreciate this engagement. We are not here for fault finding. Our interest is to serve our country better. It would hurt us so much if we find the same queries in the next financial year's report. So we pray that, you all ably stated it, that you believe in continuous improvement. You see, we can always do better. So colleagues this side, thanks for the commitment. It's been a long day, but thanks for serving your country. You know, the Minister of Trade is responsible for so many things, but more important is the economic aspect of the country. Kindly, especially on the issue of the Sudan border, the Nimule issue, as representatives of the people, we are so touched. Kindly engage at whichever levels you can to ensure that those people are helped. Number 2, see how best you can communicate and sensitize that those that are dealing in that business, because those are stuck, but others are going to come. And let's develop a communication strategy that mitigates such occurrences. Because for you knew. I doubt whether that e-licensing, whichever you call it, just came abruptly. So let's look out to helping out. But people rely on you. Yeah, there must be a notification. We are the planners. So the Ministry of Trade will make sense out of all this when you serve the people. We need to see, the technical expertise in you transform the societies that we live in. Number 2, the counterfeit products in the market. The fertilizers, so many products, really. I know you get most of these complaints. For these other areas, the UDC matter, we shall have, at the time PSS staff appears here, you'll also appear with them. You will send a staff that is responsible for that docket to ensure that we handle the UDC issue arising out of the losses that are made by UDC, yet we continue to fund it. Let's avoid operating in silos. We have observed each ministry does their own thing. Let us consolidate. First of all, it is cheaper and you serve the country better. So I want to thank you on behalf of the Public Accounts Committee. We wish you general mercies as you get to your offices. We have lunch if you still have time, but I advise that it is better for you to move fast and find business at office. I want to thank you, colleagues. Meeting is adjourned.